Hello good people, welcome to Good Things Fashion Tutorial. Today we are going to learn how to cut and sew this scrub neckline bubu gown. And in order to achieve that, I have here with me 4 yard of Ankara fabric and some lace material for the edges. Now the first thing we need to do is to fold the fabric. We need to fold the fabric into 4 in order to cut it out, because we are going to cut the front and the back together. So we need to fold the fabric in this manner. Assuming that this is the entire length of the 4 yard or 3 yard of Ankara fabric, you need to lay it out completely in this manner. Then you fold it over vertically. You fold it over vertically like so. You fold it over vertically. After folding it over vertically, you now fold it into 2 from the middle, making equal halves. You fold it into 2 like this to make equal half, 2 for the front, 2 for the back. You now have 4 layers, 2 layers for the front, 2 layers for the back, in this manner. 2 layers for the front, 2 layers for the back. Make sure the folded side is facing you in this manner. Make sure you are standing beside the folded side of the fabric from where you are going to mark out, begin to mark out your measurements in this manner. And that's exactly how I folded my Ankara fabric on the cutting table. Now, after folding it, we need to start marking out our measurements. The first measurement we'll mark out is our shoulder length. Now, my shoulder length is 8 inches. 16 inches divided by 2, 8 inches. After marking it out, I now mark out my sleeve length, because this design is cut together with sleeve. I mark out my sleeve length plus 1 inch folding allowance at the hem of the sleeve. Now the next measurement is from my shoulder to the bust point. That is what I'm marking, shoulder to bust point. I mark it on 2 sides in order for me to be able to draw a straight line. Now the next measurement is from my shoulder to my hips. I mark my shoulder to hip point there. I also mark it on 2 sides in order for me to be able to draw a very straight line. Also from my shoulder to the gown length, I mark them both on 2 sides of the folded fabric. This is me checking out the bust point on the second line, and also the hip point and the gown length. Now the next thing is to join the line, to draw my horizontal line for the bust point. The next one is to join the line for the hips and also the line for the gown, the hem of the gown. After marking out my horizontal line, now the next thing is to mark out the shoulder slant at the edge of the sleeve. I mark out 1 inch for my shoulder slant, and this is me marking out 3 inch for my neck width and 2 inch for the depth for the back of the neck. I'm marking out the back of the neck here, 3 by 2. I make it 3 by 2 inches. Now this is me confirming my shoulder length again. Now from that shoulder length, I'm going to draw my sleeve length to the shoulder slant. I draw from the shoulder to the 1 inch shoulder slant. Now this is me measuring out my sleeve length at that bust line again. I measure out my sleeve length at the bust line and join it together. I join the sleeve together at the bust line. We are allowed to use the bust line for the sleeve because this is bubu gown. It's agbada gown. We are using cut together sleeve. So the sleeve has to be wide enough. Now this is me measuring out my bust size. My bust is I measure out my bust circumference plus 4 inch ease allowance, and that's what I mark out at the bust line there. Now this same measurement I transfer it to my hips. This same measurement, the my bust circumference divided by 4 plus 4 inch sewing allowance, 4 inches sewing allowance. Some people use more than 4 inches, but it has to be big enough because this is what we are making is agbada. What we are making is bubu. It has no zip at the back. It has to be free. The style is a free style, but it also has to be straight. It is not an A-line style. It has to be the same size from the bust to the hips, even to the hem of the gown. It is straight line, and this is me joining the line from my bust point to my hips and to the hem of the gown. What you do is you use the largest part of your body, divide it by 4. For me, is actually my hips, which is 48 divided by 4, which gives me 12 inches. I now added 4 inches sewing allowance, and that is what I'm marking out now. That's what I'm marking out now. You add your allowance for ease. You can use more than 4 or 3, but make sure it's big enough for you to wear it because of your movements, because it has to be a straight gown. So in order for you to have ease of movement on your leg, it has to be big enough. And I already draw the slants under the armpit. You can see the slant line that I drew under the armpit. Now it is time to cut out our gown. This is me cutting it out here. The next thing is to cut out our gown. After cutting it out, I remove the one on the top, the one on top, and keep it aside as the back of the gown. Now the next thing is to work on the front of the gown, the neck of the front of the gown. And the next thing I need to do is to add the neck width. I go in by 1.5 inches. At the neck width, I go in by 1.5 inches like so. And at the length of the neck, I go down by 6 inches in addition to the previous 2 inch for the back. And after marking the 6 inch, I now move inside the fabric by 1 inch like so. In this manner, you go inside and you mark 1 inch points and rule it the way you see me doing. Now we need to join together the one inch at the neck length to the 1.5 and the neck width. We rule it and join it together like so. We now cut it out. We cut it out. After cutting it out, this is what we have. This is what we have. It's like a V neck, but it has a breadth. You can see it has a width at the downside. It's not exactly a V, and that's where we are going to design our scrub neckline. Now I'm going to measure out the length of the neckline. I'll measure the length and the breadth. Measure the length of the neck and also the breadth, which I'm going to use to cut out the fabric. I'm going to use it to design the scrub neckline. Now this is the pieces of material, the lace material that I already cut out for the neckline. I made it 5 inch by 10 inch, which is the length that I measured from the neckline. Unfold is going to give me 2.5 inches on each side. And after joining it, I will join it by 0.5 inches, leaving 2 inch for the neck. This is how we are going to place it on the neck. You place it on the neckline in this manner, and you place the second one on the other side in the same manner. We now using our office pin. We use our office pin to hold them down in this manner. After holding it down with office pin, we now go to our sewing machine and sew down the fabric. We sew it down, and after which we are going to turn it in this manner. We turn it we turn it round and insert it into the other side of the fabric. Now after joining the lace fabric to the neck, this is what I have. After joining it on the two sides, this is how it's going to look like. Now at that breadth of the neck, that place where I'm drawing a chalk, you go down by 0.5 inches and draw that chalk. Draw a line. Go down by 0.5 inches and draw that line. Now we are going to cut through the line that I have drawn in this manner. You can see that chalk line. You cut in a diagonal way. You cut into the 0.5. We cut only as much as 0.5 inch in length to produce a flap. You can see the flap. At that place, you will produce a flap of the Ankara fabric by cutting into the 0.5 inch measurement. You now input your lace, the material, the remaining part of the material for the neck band. You put it into the back. You push it to the back, to the wrong side of the fabric, and turn the fabric to the other side in this manner. Turn the fabric round like this to the wrong side. Bring out the two edge of the band. The two edge of the band, you bring them to the back and lay them on top of each other in this manner. You lay them on top of each other in this manner. Also, you can see the fabric, the flap of fabric that will produce by cutting that 0.5 inch into the Ankara. You now put the three of them on top of each other in this manner. You can see you now sew it. You sew across the flap of the 0.5 inch fabric. You sew across it together with the two other fabric. This is me drawing chalk to indicate where you are going to sew. You place the three materials together and sew them down at exactly that 0.5 inch fabric that you cut on your on the front length of your gown. You bring the three fabric together, the two edge of the remaining band for the neckline. You bring them, place them on top of each other, and place them on the 0.5 inch fabric that you cut on the front length of the gown. Place the three of them together and sew them down. Sew it down on top of the 0.5 inch that you mark out on your fabric. Make sure you don't go down. You don't sew more than that 0.5 inch so that you don't sew into the front of the gown. Now, after sewing it, this is what I have. This is how it's going to look like after sewing it. You can see how neat it is at the front. You can see it. Because I'm using lace material for my band, you can see how it's looking like. I did not use a now you hold together the the fabric, the remaining fabric after joining them, and cut out the excess fabric. You cut it out in this manner so that you reduce the bulk. Reduce the bulk, and this is what we have. The next thing is to work on the back of our uh, gown. This is the back of the gown. I'm trying to cut the facing for the neck circumference, and what I do is I place a piece of fabric folded together into two. I fold a piece of fabric into two and place it under the neckline, making sure that the folded side of that piece of fabric is under the folded side of the back of the gown. I now use a chalk and draw out the neckline. Trace out the neckline onto the piece of fabric and cut it out like so. Now after cutting it out, is either you measure 2 inch from the neckline or you eyeball it the way I have done and draw out a distance of like 2 inch from the neckline in this manner, and then you cut it out. You cut it out like so. And this is what we have. This is the facing for the neck circumference of the back. Now What we do is to turn the hem of the facing like this. You turn it once and sew it round. You turn it, you turn it inside and sew it down. Sew it like that. After sewing it, we will now join it to the neck of the circumference at the back. The circumference of the neck of the back of the gown in this manner. We join it to it, and after joining it, we now turn it and use our hand needle to sew it down to the back of the neck. Now after sewing the hem of the facing and joining it to the back of the gown, this is what I have. I have joined it. This is what I have. Now this is me notching the joined neckline in order for it to fold neatly. By the time I'm turning it, I'm just making small small notches at the neckline so that when I turn the facing to the other side, it will lie flat, and I will now use my hand needle to hem it down. Now the next thing is to place the front of the gown on top of the back of it, placing the right side facing each other. You place the right side facing each other and then join the two together from on the shoulder. We join it from the neckline to the sleeve at the shoulder line. We join it together like so and do the same thing to the other side. This is what I have after joining them, the two sides at the shoulder. After joining the front to the back, this is what we have. Now, we joined it in order for us to be able to measure the length of the edge of the sleeve. In order for us to use the measurement to cut out the band that we're going to attach to the edge of the length of the sleeve. So we need to measure it out. This is me measuring. I will measure it out. The length of the hem of the sleeve in this manner. We measure it out. And we use that measurement to cut out the fabric we are going to attach to the edge of the sleeve, which I have already done. I already cut out my lace fabric. I cut it using 5 inches by the length that I measured. 5 inches width by the length that I measured. Now we're going to place it on top of the right side of the sleeve in this manner. After folding it, then we sew it down. We sew it down like so and then turn it. That's how it's going to be. Then we do the same thing to the other side. We do the same thing to the other side. This is what I have after joining it and then joining the entire length of the fabric. We join the entire fabric. Please like and subscribe to the video. Thank you very much.